I'm Mel Stewart, and this is SwimSwam podcast. Joining me today, I have a dear friend. This is a long-term relationship. We're running up on 2 decades. I'm talking to David Arluck, founder and chief executive officer of the Fitter and Faster Swim Tour, with over 499 swim camps. Excuse me, 499 run last year. Over 2,000 sessions last year. Is that correct?
Yes, all over the United States, every state in Canada.
This episode of the SwimSwam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com.
That is, how would you say? That is dominant. That's that. Did you when you launched?
It's thorough. It's thorough.
When you launched, did you envision a footprint that big?
Oh, that's not what I was thinking about, but I definitely was hoping that we would have an entity that would be around for decades and be serving the swimming community and having a meaningful impact on the lives of competitive swimmers of all ages, and of course, those looking to compete in college one day, perhaps looking to compete on a national team, and then also providing an income stream for now college swimmers and also those on national teams and competing in the Olympics and swimming professionally. So yes, the vision was to be around a long time, and here we are, and we're having fun with it.
Well, a lot of people don't know this about you, and just as I'm thinking that we haven't talked about it in a long time, but you began back in the '90s. You began with Gary Hall. You began back. Is it post 9/11? Was it the nonprofit you guys started to support? What that story was really interesting, and it's been so long since we've talked about it. Tell me the background.
Right. So I physically was around in the 90s, but I wasn't involved in the swimming business at that time. Long story short, I had several friends who were killed in the World Trade Center, two of whom were on my master's swim team, and I started a scholarship at Asphalt Green called Swim for the Future. Um, Doug Ergang and Andrew Fisher. We started Swim for the Future at Asphalt Green, and we got a number of Olympians to support what we did, and we raised a lot of money for deserving kids to join the swim team there. And one of the athletes who helped out was Gary Hall Jr., and that was the beginning of a fantastic relationship.
And it grew over time. Your support in swimming. There was a point. There was a point in time, and I went to the Olympics in 2008, and you were working with about every Olympic legend you could possibly imagine. You had like a hundred Olympic legends, and you were booking them at appearances all over Beijing, and you were a man about town,
Including you.
including me, and you were somebody that before SwimSwam launched, I came to you and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it," and you were very supportive with information and intelligence in the background, and um, I just want to know that, for somebody who supported me for so long, seeing your success at Fitter and Faster is it makes me very proud.
Thank you. I'm proud of your success too, and it's fun. Those were a fun Olympics, and it's a great time working with legends, and we're a sport of legends, many of whom unfortunately get, I don't know if forgotten is the right word, but appreciation for their accomplishments, I feel, sometimes can get overlooked in this sport because of how world records are broken and the differences in time, but people don't realize that in the 60s people were still swimming without goggles, for example. The pools are deeper now. There's so many more advances in technology, including YouTube, which helps with the advancement of swimming. So, working with the legends was something that I've always loved, and I'm proud to be, for the last few years, on the board of directors at the Swimming Hall of Fame, and they're building a new facility there. I'm happy to be a donor there as well, and looking forward to contributing to the stories that could be told about the history of swimming, and that's a fun thing for us.
With such an investment in the sport and someone who's cared about it for so long, starting nonprofits going all the way back to 9/11, now heading one of the most visible companies in the sport with Fitter and Faster. As we arrive at this moment, I think everybody feels a sense of they're a little nervous. They feel insecure about the sport. Our registration shrank in 2023. It shrank 4.6% at United States Swimming. It contracted. Based on the projections after the Olympic Games, we normally have a big post-Olympic bump and this nice glow from the Olympics. It looks like that's going to be relatively flat, if not flat. So we've had meaning that in 2024, an Olympic year, we had contraction and we had new signups, but they might just cancel each other out. We don't know yet. We're not going to know until late spring. Additionally, we have the tension of the House versus NCAA fallout and what that means for our sport. A lot of people feel insecure about the state of where we are. And you're somebody who is rolling up 499 swim camps. This has to matter to you. How do you see this, and what feedback have you gotten?
Well, I've always thought the post-Olympic bump was kind of a funny thing for people to rely on and talk about. I mean, I never thought that the bump was too significant to begin with, that it was really worth paying attention to. The growth was always relatively small. And, every day is a great day to promote the sport of swimming and to promote people joining your teams and to promote learning how to swim. And the reality is one of the very first activities that many parents around the country participate in with their kids is mommy me classes and learn how to swim. I believe there's a huge opportunity in our sport to connect learn to swim programs with competitive swim programs. I think if you look around the country and you see some of the most successful programs in the nation, they have learn to swim programs, and they're doing a great job of making it fun between those years of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 years old. Have them coming back to the pool for different activities and keeping it engaging, and then joining their teams. So, I think those who are being creative and finding ways to compete are doing so. I believe that there's a great opportunity ahead with new leadership at USA Swimming, and some of the people who are still there and so dedicated to the sport to re-engage with teams, re-engage with LSCs, re-engage at the local level, and do a lot more sharing between those who have been successful getting membership and things like that. So, the reality is the growth has never been too big. The drop-off isn't too big. This is definitely something that can be addressed, and that part of it is not a very big concern to me. As far as the swimming in college issue, that is concerning to me. I feel like there is a lot of conversation that creates fear, but there still is a lot of opportunity to compete out there at that collegiate level, at the highest level, in the SEC and those conferences. I think the landscape is changing quite a bit. obviously. But I actually think that there's opportunities for schools to create swim programs where the swim program might be the big men and women on campus, and where, hey, look, maybe they don't have a college football team or something that's dominating all the scholarships. I think there's a great opportunity in the Division 3. There's some amazing programs in Division 3. And we've had Olympians come out of Division 3. So I think that that's going to continue to become stronger and stronger, and I'm really excited about it. And yeah, so that's that. I can go on and on, but I don't know if you want to.
There's a lot happening right now. There is insecurity in the marketplace. We removed our last CEO stepped away. Probably, was forced out. We got a new chief executive at United States Swimming. The chief executive is coming in at a pretty steep salary. It was a big acquisition of talent. So we're pinning our hopes on somebody, and we stretched and we were paying them a lot more in the hopes that they can deliver. Everybody's got their finger crossed, going, okay, this is a athletic director from the University of Delaware. They have swimming roots.
My alma mater.
There you go. Maybe just maybe this will be the magic that helps us in a domestic Olympic run up. But we do have this college situation with House versus the NCAA, and we do have the limitation in the Power Five. We do have the limitation, in the SEC. The SEC, I remember talking to Bob Bowman one day this past fall, and I said, "What are you up to?" And he groaned, cutting my roster from 40 to 22. Within a few days, I heard from another D3 program, and they were like, "We're doing great. We're rolling up talent." So there's an insecurity, but it could be is this a bigger fear than is this as big a fear as we think it is, or are we just having a realignment in our ecosystem?
Well, I think there's a number of things at work. First of all, like you mentioned, there's new leadership at USA Swimming. I know that the board of directors did a very thorough job interviewing a lot of very terrific candidates, and we have a great board of directors, and I'm confident that they made a great decision. And I think it's important for people in the industry to rally around the new leader of USA Swimming and get to know her and support her. And I think it's an exciting time for the sport. But just as with anything else, whether it's at a company or at school or in a business, it's important to take responsibility for yourself. So if you're running a team, if you're swimming yourself, if you're the parents of swimmers, if you're in charge of a college program, your success, the success of your programs, the success of your business really relies upon what you contribute to it, how you communicate, who you pull into it, and those are the important things. So it's great that we have a new leader. Let's rally around her, but you have to be responsible for yourself and what you can control.
That's not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Okay. No. I agree. I agree 100%. You talk to some of the most hard driving club programs in the country, super teams, and they're like, look, you can build your business. You can do a great job. And I think that's fair in certain marketplaces where people are moving because this new mid-major market's really cool, and people are moving from New York, San Francisco, LA, to these mid-major markets that are little hubs, and they're tech hubs, and they're attracting young, educated families who are very disciplined and love swimming. Yeah, I'm very curious about what's going to happen in the next 3 years, and I know that there's a few companies and a few individuals who care greatly about it, and they're positive. They're like you, and you are eternally positive, and you put your money where your mouth is. You're like, hey, I'm going to make investments. I'm doing well, and I'm going to make investments, and I'm going to buoy and support other organizations that I believe in. Part of the reason why I wanted to bring you on today was that I saw that you're supporting the College Swimming Coaches Association of America, which is why I wanted to talk to you. It's like, what was this? Was the motivation because of House versus the NCAA? Was this always in the works? Is this always something that you wanted to do?
Well, I think it's funny. I think that opportunity in the sport of swimming has never been greater than it is now. I really believe that. When the shit hits the fan, that's the opportunity to get creative and do great things. All great inventions solve a problem, and right now we have a problem in the sport, and all it needs is a solution. The reality is there are still swimming pools. There's still water that goes into swimming pools. It still is healthy activity. It's still an important sport to learn how to do. There's still an Olympics, and there's still college programs. Now, there may not be as many roster spots on certain elite schools, but there's still roster spots throughout all of the NCAA. So, when there's there's going to be a little bit of a shift in where the talent is, but also what's going to happen too is you're going to end up with really great coaches at mid-major schools. You're going to see really great coaches at Division 2 and 3 schools, and it's just going to look different. Now, I hope that most of the swimming community will rally around this opportunity. I think it's unrealistic that everybody's going to rally around it, because that's just not the way things work. But I do believe that there is huge opportunity in the sport at the NCAA level. There's lots of great things to look forward to. And there's lots of really terrific institutions to get you education. And I still believe that there's a great opportunity for American athletes to train in America, get educated in America, and be the most dominant swim team in the world.
And you're supporting the College Swimming Coaches Association of
And
America.
I'm smart. Exactly. So so that was a natural thing for us right now. Swimming in college is a lifetime dream for many swimmers. That's why for, I'd say, the last 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it's been, I've sponsored, Fitter and Faster has sponsored the college commitment announcements on SwimSwam. It's a special opportunity for athletes all over the country who've been working hard to get that visibility. Their teams share their posts, their club teams, their parents, their family, the college teams, and it's our way of being able to support the work that you do to aggregate all that news, and then to support, be part of their celebration in a special kind of way. And we also started to support Kyle Sockwell. We're the presenting sponsor of the media that he puts out, and his college swim tour. He's a lot of fun. He's got a great vision for the sport. I was able to go to a couple of his of the meets that he had attended with him, and we also provide the videographer for a lot of the events, and we like capturing that content, and it's a lot of fun. So for us to support the College Swim Coaches Association of America, also very important to us, because we know that they have a lot of very important work to do right now, educating athletic departments about the importance of their swim teams, providing value to coaches on how to monetize their programs, provide more value to their members of their team. And we want to be able to support that financially, but then also with resources that we're able to offer in terms of education, and then also in terms of providing an outlet through relationships for swimmers to become clinicians with Fitter and Faster, for colleges to turn to Fitter and Faster so that they can rent their pools to us, and they could drive some revenue, bring in local swimmers to see their teams, to see competitions, to help make their meets more fun in the way we're working with Kyle, for example. So there's just so much that we could do together. We've found a lot of success in the sport, making it fun. We create fun learning experiences. And we want to be able to share some of that with college swim teams, and I'm looking forward to it very much.
When I step back and look at it, it's this you've closed the loop. You've got a full ecosystem, and and something that you didn't mention is that you've been a longtime supporter of the American Swimming Coaches Association, ASCA, which is the premier and largest coaching association on earth. And you've been instrumental there you were instrumental there when they didn't have a lot of support. You've always been there and always been consistent. So you rolled up and did our college commit series, which is huge. It's at scale. It's over 1,600 reports per year, and that is very costly on our side. And frankly, we couldn't do it without you. So the people who appreciate us generating that sort of messaging, and it is sort of like everybody's gold medal. Everyone's not going to go to the Olympics, but you put your time in, you can swim in college. You work hard enough, you no matter what your talent level, you can find a place somewhere in college, and you get that college commit moment, which is a big celebration with parents. Then with Sockwell, driving the excitement in the college space in a way that we've never seen before. And now College Swimming Coaches Association of America. That feels like a full scale, closed loop vision that you have. When you first mentioned it to me, I'm like, oh wow. This is everything. You've got everything.
And we also work with the Hall of Fame, working with the legends too. So we're working with, every phase of swimming, everywhere from competitive swimming, all the way through college. And then, obviously the post-grad with being part of Fitter and Faster, and as clinicians, and then also the legends as part of the Hall of Fame. Well, we just want to try to nourish the sport in a way that we're able to. We don't have endless financial means, but what we're capable of doing. And I think that that's really important in the sport. And there's a lot that everybody who has an interest in the sport can do to help buoy it and help raise the tide for the sport, and to also understand who we are as a sport, and not to be delusional about what the sport is in the scheme of pro sports. I think that if we're true to who we are, and we understand who we are and where we stand in the sports landscape, that's when we'll really start winning. And that's when we'll start having real, true, meaningful growth in the sport, where we're jumping more in sign-up rates for USA Swimming than ever before.
And I don't mean to be negative, but I'm going to be negative for a split second. If you're SwimSwam, you're kind of like Switzerland. All roads sort of come to us at some point as a news and content platform that reports.
Well, if you're Switzerland, how can you be negative? Are you allowed to be negative?
I'm just saying it was six. Okay. We report in 6 languages. There's 3 shifts of people reporting all the time. Over 12,000 pieces of content produced a year. I know all the companies, and I know who makes investments back in the sport. There are. Well, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm going to say there are a lot of companies in swimming that it really extract a lot of money from the sport. They have a service, they do what they do, but they're not making an investment back in it. They're clearly here just to make a profit on our ecosystem. And you are the exact opposite of that. You're completely the opposite of it. And but I also I've you know, after watching this for 15 years, I see where if you're taking the David Arluck vision of the sport and you're taking that opposing vision that I just alluded to, I see you grow, and I see, you know, and I see the scale of it. It's worked. 499 camps a year, 2,000 sessions. What is it going to look like when we arrive in the run up to Los Angeles 2028? How big will Fitter and Faster be?
Well, in 3 years, maybe we'll get close to 1,000 camps, I'd say somewhere between 800 and 1,000 camps, maybe a little bit more international than we currently are. You know, we really enjoy the relationship with the teams and the LSCs that we work with. You know, we want to keep providing services back, like higher level, you know, continue to do higher level curriculums, more specialized curriculums. At the last Olympic trials, 26% of all participants, of all competitors at Olympic trials had participated at some point in their life in a Fitter and Faster camp. I suspect that by 2028, it will be a bit more, but I think that by 2032, we'll be up close to 50% of all competitors at Olympic trials will have been to a Fitter and Faster camp at some point. Because most of those who competed at the last trials were going in 2012, 2013, when we weren't even half the size we are now. So, you know, now we're more than double the size that we had been, and I expect the numbers at trials to increase, you know, even more.
The most dominant educator in all of competitive swimming. Fitter and Faster.
You know how to make things a little uncomfortable.
I mean, it really is. That's a huge footprint. I can see that by Brisbane, and it does make sense because it's that was something we were talking at trials, and I'm like, you know, how many kids have gone through Fitter and Faster that are competing here now? Because we meet these kids when they're little. We meet them when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. We meet their parents. You're like, you know, okay, these kids have great supportive parents. They're already fast learners. We might see them at trials, and that's a big percentage.
Well, some of the coolest thing for us is when we have clinicians like Joey Rileman, who's now coaching in the Ivy League, Andrew Appleby, and others who were participants, and now they're clinicians for us. You know, and that's one of the other exciting things about being part of the College Swimming Coaches Association is letting these athletes know that, hey, if you want to continue to compete or earn some NIL dollars, you can work with Fitter and Faster, make some money, get really great work experience. We've had many tremendous clinicians who have worked for us who have gone on to get terrific jobs in coaching or go on to other careers, and they've used myself and other people in our company as references to get these jobs. We give very honest feedback to the clinicians. We work with them on honing their craft because we want them to do a terrific job. So it's a great place to work and get experience, to make some money, to do something that you know a lot about, and to give back to the sport in a very, very meaningful way.
I am a proud former Fitter and Faster clinician. I did it. I remember 2008, 2009. I did it for a few years.
You did.
You
did.
I was the oldest
and
person on deck.
we even did some camps together. I remember. I wasn't teaching them, but I was there.
You were very, very active. You have a I liked it. I like when you're at the camps. Well, it's a
I have to say, Mel, honestly, over the last, like, I'm a relatively hard worker. I think anybody who knows me would tell you that. Um, I'm working as hard the last 6 months as I did when I started Fitter and Faster. Like, I just think that this is such an exciting time for the sport. Um, yes, there's the issues that you're talking about, but I think that this is the time to buckle in and get excited. And, people, LA begins in, just over 3 years, but the reality is it begins now. And now is the time to make the impact. Like, if you're working towards LA, like, now is the time. You want to make, you're 15, 16 years old, and you want to make trials and compete on your home turf. um now is the time. Like, now is the time. And that's the way I'm looking at the business right now. Now is the time.
I'm with you, buddy. Now is the time. It's time. It's go time.
It
It's
is.
if you're old enough to remember, we had a boycott in 1980. Then we had the 1984 Olympic Games. 1984 Olympic Games was one of the most watched events in television history. And then we had from 1992 Barcelona My Olympics to the domestic Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta. Swimming had a huge bump. I think it was, if I forgot the metric, but there is a metric that there was like 111% growth, but I forgot what that was against. I think it was against 88 to 96. But the trajectory on that growth as we approach 96 in
There was
1996,
111% growth between what period of time and what period of time?
88 and 1996. Now you have to remember USA
Okay.
Swimming had just started and really was just rolling up people in 79 and 80. So it was a slow trajectory. A lot of people didn't swim USS Swimming. They would, you would go to a regional meet, meet or USA Swimming meet, and then you would sign up, or junior nationals, because you would be YMCA or AAU. But yes, there's going to be a bump between now. We're going to grow. We're just
Yeah.
going to grow organically.
Yeah.
Get ready.
I believe it. There's a lot of opportunity. And I think that the key is one of the keys is to fill that gap between learn to swim and competitive swimming, bring more people into the sport, keep the sport fun. Everybody's goal is important. It really is. If your goal is to make an Olympic team, that's a great goal. If your goal is to swim Division III, that's a great goal. If your goal is to make the C relay for your high school team, that's a great goal. And we want you in the sport. You pay your dues. You deserve good coaching. If you need to balance school with swimming, that's fine too. If you swim 8 practices a week, 6 days a week, that's great too. There's issues with pool availability and coaching availability and things like that. But I think that there's ways for us to be creative in the sport, to create those opportunities for all different levels of commitment to the sport. And that's how the sport really will win. One of the nice things about what Kyle is doing is he's going out and showing that swim meets really can be fun. They can be fun. I've been to some horribly boring swim meets in my life, and look, they're going to happen from time to time, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And if you're a school and you are being looked at in terms of how do you not only bring revenue into the institution, but how do you help nourish the institution? What better way than to get other members of your college, of your university, into the natatorium and watch some competitive swimming, to put on parties, to show school spirit, to bring your mascots there, to have music, to get social media. You may not be filling up, the stadium at Ohio State, but if you could show that there's support for your program, and it's not just crickets when you're having the swim meet, that goes a long way in the sport. And I think that that's a very, very important thing. I think it's part of the piece, it's one of the pieces of the puzzle. But it's a very, very important, very, very important one.
Buddy, I appreciate you coming on. You are now officially a supporter of the College Swimming Coaches Association of America, American Swimming Coaches Association of America, SwimSwam. You're the man behind the Sockwell bump this past year in terms of the excitement we're seeing in college sports. Everybody's watching that right now in college swimming. And we don't want to forget about International Swimming Hall of Fame and your support there, buddy. I love you, and
I love you.
I don't know what swimming would do without you.
Well, it's a great sport, and it's fun to be part of it, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.